football. And the Cardinals, they seem to be powering themselves toward that 2 seed. I don't think Seattle has the firepower to catch them. And the Rams, they were just no match Sunday, 27-3. Your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, David Johnson had a great game, as I expected, against St. Louis, and then Carson Palmer threw all over St. Louis for 356 yards. And then John Brown, of course, another big game, and Michael Floyd is actually starting to come around, which is nice to see because he's kind of been a no-show a lot in the last year and a half or so. As far as St. Louis goes, they can't run the ball, definitely can't pass the ball. They don't got anyone that's any good, really, to catch the ball. So, this team, St. Louis team, definitely has no offense, and I think that's partly the biggest issue for this team.
Yeah. So, before we move on here, what do you think about Jeff Fisher? You think he'll be fired at the end of the season, or you think the Rams give him a chance to run this program, whether it be in L.A. or St. Louis next season, or parts unknown?
I would say he probably doesn't get fired. I think they'll give him another year or two. This team is a work in progress, so yeah, I'm not convinced he'll be leaving.
Okay, good point there, Josh. And we move on here to Minnesota, a game that we thought would be a lot more competitive, but it's like I tell you every week, Josh, the Seattle Seahawks are starting to play their best football right now. Russell Wilson seems to have taken things to another gear, and that defense, they're finally starting to get things together. Teddy Bridgewater didn't have much of a chance at all Sunday. I mean, they stopped giving the ball to Adrian Peterson in the second quarter. He ended up with only 18 yards rushing. Russell Wilson, he did his thing. He found touchdown passes to Doug Baldwin, and he threw one also to Luke Wilson. And Seattle, they just pretty much clobbered Minnesota 35-7. And Arizona's pretty much lucky that they're 10-2, because I think if there was about 5 or 6 weeks left in the season, the Seahawks will probably catch them, because they're starting to catch fire, and they're playing their best football right now. But if they get together in the desert, though, in the January showdown, I'm putting my money on the Hawks. What's your thoughts on this game here, Josh?
Seattle did everything on offense that you could do correctly. They passed the ball good. Wilson was efficient, had 270 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Thomas Rawls is quietly becoming one of the biggest studs in the NFL right now. He is averaging over 5 yards a carry in this game. He was impressive, as he's been every time he's been given the opportunity. And Doug Baldwin has, in the last 2 games, I think he's had 5 touchdown receptions. So Seattle's turning the corner, and you might be right. They might be legit. So we will see.
Yeah, it's like I said, I know you over there shaking in your boots, hoping that you don't have a rematch with those guys in San Francisco, but that's a long way off. A lot of football to play before then, Josh. So
yes,
I'm just messing with you.
It's all good.
And here, next up here, we got a game that not too many people watch. I mean, I know I didn't watch too much of it. Maybe Matt saw a bit of this game. The 49ers taking down the Bears 26-20. I saw that they got a pick 6 early in the game from Jimmy Ward, and pretty much it was kind of a 13-13 game most of the way. I mean, Sean's wrong. He played pretty well, too, out here. But in overtime, Blaine Gabbert, we got ourselves a Torrey Smith sighting going 71 yards in overtime to pretty much put the Bears away. 49ers 26, Chicago 20. They're still playing hard for the old man Jim Tomsula over there. And for all these 49er people on Twitter and things that say this guy should be fired and he's over his head, hey, I'd say give him a little bit more talent and see how it goes now. The 49ers are still playing hard for him. Chicago, man, it's hard to make anything of these guys. They play well at Green Bay, then they go lay an egg like this. They're a very hard football team to figure out. Your thoughts on this game, Josh?
The best player on San Francisco, Navarro Bowman, was amazing. I watched some of that game. He was all over the field, getting almost every tackle you could possibly think of. And then the biggest play to me was when Blaine Gabbert ran one off for 44 yards for a touchdown. That was unexpected, and I'm not surprised that they won this game, because I'm pretty sure I mentioned that I thought they could if everything went right, and they did everything right. So Gabbert didn't make mistakes. I still think San Francisco run game is putrid, but I mean, they won the game, so you can't knock that.
Yeah, man, that's all you do, get your W here. And now we move on to the West Coast heavyweight matchups here. The Broncos and the Chargers, man, this game was a snoozer. Brock Osweiler threw a touchdown pass to Demaryius Thomas to get them going early. Then Danny Trevathan got a pick 6 to put them ahead 14-0. And after that, it seemed like Denver just pretty much put it on cruise control, because, I mean, Phillip Rivers really has nothing to throw to. Stevie Johnson got injured early in that game, so did Dontrell Inman. And at that point, I think me and you were actually starting to line up a wide receiver towards the end of that game, Josh. The Chargers, man, they just pretty much need to go ahead and just lock it up. Denver, they're still battling for a first-round bye. They get the job done 17-3, even though they lose C.J. Anderson with an ankle injury. What was your thoughts on this match?
Well, statistically, this game wasn't all that exciting for either team, to be honest with you. Denver is a better team, and that's why they won the game. They won with defense is what they do, and they have different guys stepping up all the time. Derek Wolf and Von Miller, all those guys play hard, and they don't allow teams like the Chargers to score points, so that's why they're winning games.
Yep, that defense is completely locked down there. Yep. We've got one more game here to discuss, Kansas City and Oakland, but we'll talk about that game with tonight's guest, D. Will, in a little bit when he gets on here. Right about now, it's time for you all to get your pens and paper ready, and it's time for you to get some money-making tips from our fantasy guru here, Matt Dulcan. Me, I'm not the guy you want to talk to about making money. I'm just in the way here. So if you want to make some money, this is the guy you want to talk to. So introducing to you, my main man, Matt Dulcan. How you doing tonight, Matt?
I'm doing great, fellas. Ready to, right the ship this week.
Hey, I'm feeling good. I got my pen and paper ready, man. I did pretty good last week picking up Brandon Marshall, so I'm ready to hear what you got for me this week. I'm going to stand back here and let you take it away. The floor is yours.
All right, let's get right into it. We got the revenge narrative on the tap. Pour yourself a cold one. We got LaShawn McCoy at Philadelphia. As you know, this is his ex-team, but it's not just his ex-team. They went out on bad terms. The price there is pretty good for the workload he's getting, $7,900 on FanDuel, $6,100 on DraftKings. You got a good team total for Buffalo at 23.5. This is a pick'em game, so Vegas thinks it's going to be competitive. You might see the totals rising up a little there above it. I take the over in this one, and he's averaged 17.3 fantasy points over his last 5 games and 21.3 touches over his last 3. You can bet he's going to come in angry. I love this guy this week. And another guy I love, we're going to stay on that side of the ball in that game. We're going to go to Sammy Watkins, $7,200 on FanDuel, $6,100 on DraftKings. I had to mention this guy. The price at $7,200, the discount you're getting from those other elite guys, and the way he's been producing, it's insane. I saw Roto Underworld tweeted the other day, Sammy Watkins has posted 3.84 fantasy points per target on 19 yards per target after Revis and Butler have guarded him. You take those games out, and this guy is just murdering it. His efficiency is through the roof. Tyrod Taylor is really coming around, and I really love Sammy this week. And, you don't want to put these two guys in the same lineup, I don't think, but, I'm definitely going to have some exposure to these guys this week. At least one of them will be in my captain lineup. Next, let's get right to this guy that you can't not mention. If you don't have him in your lineup this week, to quote, Dom Bach from Roto Grinders, you're going to lose. Odell Beckham Jr. at Miami, $9,300 on FanDuel, $9,100 on DraftKings. It's got the same team total as the other game I was just talking about, 47. We got the Monday Night Hammer in another pick'em game. This one's going to be good. I think it's going to be a shootout. I'm going to be writing this game up as my shootout of the week out on thirddown.com on Friday. And, ODB is on fire. Just look at his hair. He's a lock in my lineups almost every week at this point. I honestly, every single lineup, the first thing I do is I put Odell Beckham in, and then I work from there. Because at this point, he's on this insane stretch run that he was on last year. And, just put him in there and move on. Miami allows the 7th most fantasy points to wide receivers, and they've just been falling apart lately. And I love the pairing with the Eli Manning, but I'm not going to elaborate on Eli too much, but he's a great play, and he's going to be bolstered. His fantasy value is going to be bolstered as long as OBJ is playing at this level. So we're going to get to the guy that, my buddy over here doesn't like. Sean Jerome, running game of the San Francisco 49ers at Cleveland, $6,500 on FanDuel, $4,800 on DraftKings. This guy is playing almost all the snaps. We finally saw him come through with a touchdown last week, and I think people are, still going to be scared to put him in their lineups just off, the offense he's in. But this workload, it's undeniable. They're going to be playing from behind most likely, even though it's against Cleveland. And this guy just feasts on those receptions. This guy's getting, 5 to 8 catches a game. So you just need to slot him in there in your cash games on, those PPR sites like DraftKings at 4,800. That's a free spot for me in this matchup. Gabbert's been doing better than expected. He had that nice run last week, and Torrey Smith got a away on the game winner. So, he's moving the offense a little better, and I think, that's going to generate a couple of goal line opportunities for Sean Jerome. So, I'm really high on him this week. I am going to have a large percentage of that guy. Now I want to get to my quarterback tournament play of the week. This is an Indiana Jones play. You're going to need to get the whip, go in the Temple of Doom. You're going to have to be brave with this one. It's super contrarian. Jameis Winston versus New Orleans. This game has a beautiful over-under. 50.5 total. That's incredible. That's going to be a shootout. We already know how bad the New Orleans defense is, and the thing I love about this play is I think he's going to be insanely low-owned because Drew Brees is 7,900. A lot of people are going to see the team total. They're going to want to target this game. They're going to say, I only save $100 dropping down to Jameis Winston from Drew Brees. Oh, no way. I'm not doing that. So, you got to find things that your mind tells you not to do to be contrarian, to get those low ownership percentages, to differentiate yourself and get a step ahead of the field. And I think this is a great situation for it because, Winston's been going off lately. The Saints allow the most fantasy points to quarterbacks and the second most passing yards. And, Winston has been getting knocked for his, interceptions, some weak play this year, but actually, the interceptions don't bother us too much for fantasy as long as he keeps taking those shots. He's managing a robust average fantasy output of 21.5 fantasy points on the season. So this guy's producing. He's going to be low-owned, and I love him in tournaments. Again, don't touch him in the cash games, but in the tournaments, fire this guy up.
Okay, I got a question for you, Matt. The 49ers and the Browns. You think Johnny Manziel can have any success against you guys' defense? It does seem to be getting a bit better, but I was just concerned if you think Manziel would be a guy worth taking a look at along with Gary Barnidge in this game.
I can't look at Gary Barnidge because Manziel only, he only averages 6 targets for Gary Barnidge, when Manziel plays compared to, I believe it's 9.5 when Josh McCown plays. So I'm off Barnidge this week. But, yes, I'm not really targeting the quarterbacks in this game. Pretty much the only guy that I really am going for is Sean Jerome. I don't think it's going to be a high enough scoring game for Manziel to have enough success to, get him in your lineup. Even though he does save you a lot of money, I just feel like there's other guys in that price range I'd probably go with. But, yeah, you never know. The Niner defense has been picking it up, so maybe the Niner defense would be a good tournament play because that guy will turn the ball over and possibly throw a couple picks.
Yeah, he's going to run around a bit, get you a few sacks there. You got any questions for Matt, Josh?
Sure. I want to ask him if there's anyone on New England Patriots that's worth playing this week.
Yes, there is a guy, and he's the same guy, that we've been targeting the last couple weeks. Danny Amendola, 7,000 on FanDuel, 5,200 on DraftKings. If you're just looking at the number, it says fantasy points against on the app. I believe it says 24th or something. They're going to see the red number or the red name, and they're going to say, that's a bad matchup. I don't want to do that, but, Houston can get beat in the inside, and that's where Daniel Amendola is operating in the slot. He's just not priced into his role. In the last 3, he's had 10, 9, and 7 catches on 11, 12, and 13 targets. And with the way LaFell has just been playing horrible, just drop city. I mean, this guy can't corral anything. Deep ball to Brandon LaFell is just a joke right now. It's a bad idea. So I think there's going to be even more work for him this week. At 5,200 on DraftKings with the PPR, he's a lock for every lineup over there. And I'm going to be playing heavy on DraftKings this week. It's the last week to win a ticket to a live final, so I'm going to be going for that FSWC. So wish me luck.
All right, hey, good luck, Matt. Get that money there, man. You got anything else you want to ask Josh, or you good?
Do I want to ask Matt? Sure. Well, I guess I want to ask about James White, to stick to the New England theme. Do you think after last week's performance, if he's a guy that we'll see a lot of this week, or should we not trust Belichick's game plan?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with the latter. I've been burned so many times by Bill Belichick and PFS and regular fantasy football. Like, I can't even count. We finally had some secure role this year when we had Dion Lewis, and that was the most amazing thing ever. It was just like, wow, this horrible situation that happens every single year I get suckered into after a big Patriot running back game is gone. We got Dion Lewis, but now he's gone. We don't know who's going to get the work. I just can't do it. I just don't want to lose money.
Yep.
Don't blame you there, Matt. Well, I'd like to say thank you tonight for another great segment, Matt. And go ahead and make that money in that fantasy football tournament, man. If you win something, don't forget about your boys over here on the West Coast Recess.